We're getting things going right away. 8 minutes past 8 o'clock. This is the time in the studios of Q95 FM radio. Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to the In the Spotlight radio show. It is Monday, the 24th day of January in the year 2022. We are live on Q95 FM radio, and we are also live on the In the Spotlight radio show page. You will see the link, just click on it and let's roll. We're also live in the group, the fans group, so check it out if that's your option. And just using the opportunity while we're on social platforms to invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel for Dinah F. Frampton. Support us there. Let us give some acknowledgements to the Q95 FM radio for allowing us to be here on a Monday night. We really truly appreciate working with you, and our guest tonight was there from the beginning, and we'll find that out when we speak to her. We want to remind you that we have Cash App, Spotlighters, of course the $ before that if you would like to give some support to the show. And thanks to those who've been using that platform to give us some support. We really do appreciate it. But you can also just inbox me at 275-7565. That's 275-7565. Now, don't get it twisted. Those of you who know my regular number, this is not my regular number. They're pretty close. The difference is a 7 and a 3. All right? So you can WhatsApp or message or call this number and let's talk as to how you can support the In the Spotlight radio show. Thank you, Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited, for providing us with Propita water tonight. Thank you for that. They are also the agents for Barefoot Wine. We also want to say thanks to GK, Jordan Jerome. Thank you, GK. Once you see the In the Spotlight radio show logo on the video, the promo video, then know that GK gave us some support with that as well. We want to say thanks as well to Akim Low. Akim Low does our flyers and, as always, you know, does a very, very good job at it. From last week, Old Stone Grill and Bar resumed its support of providing us dinner, myself and my guests, after the show. So thank you for that, and that's for the best broth, the best roti, the best place to dine. Call them at Kalaloo Restaurant for lunch, 615-7549 and 276-7341 at the Great Old House. Thank you so much for your support. Last week I had some ribs and that was really, really good. So thank you for that as well. I don't know what my guests will be having. I have not yet sent that message to them, but we'll see how that goes. And we also want to thank Dominica News Online and of course you, the fans, the supporters, the listeners, the viewers. Thank you everyone for your support of the program. And tonight, on the In the Spotlight radio show, we have an extraordinary young lady who is joining us on the program tonight. I'm so impressed with how much she's been able to achieve and accomplish in such a short period of time. Our guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is Jael Joseph. We'll begin our conversation with her in just a while. We hope that you're tuned in to the live as well on the In the Spotlight radio show official page. Go there if you prefer to view, because she's quite a beautiful young lady, so you might want to see her. In the Spotlight radio show, just search that and you'll find it. There's also a link on my page and in the fans group. Keep it locked, we're coming back.
listen to their stories. No limitations, no restrictions, no holds barred. In the spotlight, we'll also spotlight interesting topics, issues, and relevant situations. Don't miss In the Spotlight on Q95 FM radio every Monday night from 8 p.m.
I am proud of you, Mommy. Hi, my name is Jael, and I'm Jael's little sister. I'm extremely proud of Jael, or Shelly, as we normally call her at home. And I remember when she decided to go back to school, she was pregnant with her second son, and that was around the time of Hurricane Maria in Dominica. It was a very trying time, and I could not imagine how challenging that must have been for her to deal with, having to move because of a hurricane, and to being a mom of 2 young boys, and handling school and work and everything else in between that comes with that. But she did it, man. She did it. She said she was going to go back to school and she was going to do well. And she did exceptionally well. She was able to secure a scholarship to do her master's because of how well she performed in her degree. And I am so proud of her. And she's always strived for high quality and the best in everything that she's done. And I know that she has so much to offer this world, and she's only just getting started, so prepare will prepare. I am proud of you, Mommy.
Oh my God! Good evening to you, Jael. I know.
Wow, for Dinah.
I know. I know. You see, look at what is happening already. Oh my goodness. That was your baby boy.
I know.
Did you pick up what he just said?
I'm proud of you, Mommy.
I'm proud of you, Mommy. That's what he said. And that was your sister, Jael. I have quite a few more to come. That we'll probably get you a bit more.
Yes, I for Dinah. Wait, Papa.
But yes. Okay, so we're going to get you out of that. Okay, so let me just say good evening to you.
Good evening to you. Good evening to you and your listeners. I can't even believe I'm here. Like, I mean, you asked me before, a while ago actually.
Yes, it's been a while. Earlier on.
But it wasn't, I didn't think it was the right time. And I kind of, again, too, I don't like to talk about myself. I prefer to focus on my work and focus on, work that content that can inspire others. That doesn't necessarily revolve around me. So coming on a program was kind of like, I don't know if I want to do this. But for Dinah, I remember when I did 767's Girls Rock, the first one.
Yes.
And I told you I wanted you to be a guest, and you were like, I don't do these things. And I plucked your cherry, so I figured you might as well pluck mine.
And we can relate. We can relate
Yes.
when it comes to that.
Yes.
And so you mentioned being nervous, that you were going to be nervous and all of that.
Let me tell you.
But we're going to be fine. Let's do a little something before, to help you just relax a little.
Okay.
And then before we get into all of the talk that we're going to be doing.
Not at all.
Okay. So let's do a little icebreaker vibes, just to get you relaxed. And I'm not going to ask you what's in the cup.
It's not wrong.
It's not wrong.
No.
By the way, you should show it. Show the mug.
Oh, my cousin Gina did this for me a few years ago. She gosh, I can't remember. Fly Mamas is her name of her company. She's Renee's Francis Seaman's sister.
Okay.
Yeah, so she did that for me a few years ago and sent it to me in Canada, and that's
Wow.
Jael, and the back of it's supposed to have tonight. Joven actually said you need a new mug. Gina, need a new mug. The back of it says Dashing Youth Movements.
Nice. So yeah, let us just have a little fun before we begin. So, what was the last good book that you read?
Gosh, I read hand in my hand or audiobook.
Audiobook, anything.
Okay, the what was the last audiobook I read? Okay, so the last actual book I picked up was gosh, but I put me on the spot.
Okay.
It's actually I know the author. I can't remember the Jasmine. By I've started this book so long ago and I put it down because it's hard for me to read the physical book because I have so much other books to read. So I tend to do audiobooks and I wish it came in an audiobook. I started it and I had to stop. So Jasmine by Shumin B. Let me tell you, that book, fire! Yes. It took me a while for me to finish it, and it has nothing to do with the content of it and everything to do with the fact that I had to keep picking it up rather than listening to an audiobook. Because if it was an audiobook, I would have finished it a couple times.
So are you saying that your preference is actual audio?
I love audiobooks for the I enjoy audiobooks now for the mere fact that I have a lot of books to read because I'm doing my master's and I came from undergrad into master's and there's so much books I have to read, you know. So I just figure if I'm going to my spare time, so when I'm driving and stuff, I listen to audiobooks.
Okay.
So yeah.
Number 2, what would be the name of your autobiography?
Probably Dash and Leaf Movement. Yes,
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. Dash and Leaf Movement. Black Island Girl.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably Black Island Girl would be the name.
Here's a good one.
Yeah.
What old person's things do you do?
Old person.
Mm-hmm.
What do you consider an old person's
Okay,
thing?
so like my granny would put her money in her titty, in a brassiere. Maybe tying your hair.
Well, yeah, I guess the hair tie, but I don't consider that an old person's thing. I consider that part of my heritage.
Okay.
You know, African heritage to tie my head.
Okay.
So I embrace that aspect of it. I don't put money in my titty because I've heard of there's things that can happen to you if you do that.
Okay.
Probably sponge.
Sponge?
Yes. every now and again I like to sponge.
Okay.
Even though I stand up sponging, you know, I stand up sponge.
We all do it. I like that. Okay. What is your guilty pleasure?
Boy. Can I say that?
Oh boy. Again, you listen. Then I'm warning you people. First, my darling Simeon.
Same birthday. Simeon and I have same birthday, so watch
Somebody
it.
said that to me.
Watch it.
Then last week, somebody Ken asked me if you could say something.
Yes.
And then there you are tonight. Can I say that? Huh.
I'll just stick to food. Probably.
Yes. Okay.
I like mango.
You like mango?
I like mango.
Oh, I already see you. She wears mango on Facebook. Yeah.
But things to do, you don't really want to know that. It's rated TMA, I guess. Rated R.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the final one. Who was your childhood famous crush?
Famous crush. Gosh, I have never really been starstruck. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to meet one person, probably Denzel.
Denzel.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's gonna happen.
Is it the bow legs?
No, it's just he has a swag about him.
He has a
I think it's
presence.
more, it's not even his looks, it's more, and I'm not attracted to looks. That's
No?
something that most people, no, I'm not, my brain doesn't capture features like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, features is an afterthought for me. So people, like, I remember when I first started dating Joe, and they'd be like, "Yo, man, so cute," you know? And I'm like, really? Like it didn't click until like, no, I'm ready to open an OnlyFans page for
So
him.
it was,
But
it was about the person's
It is, yes.
personality.
yeah, my brain does not process. It's very hard for me to be attracted to somebody for their looks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much more emotionally driven than physical appearance. If you see the people I've dated in the past, you'll be like, what Mr. Harding come on with Mr. It's very much if you because you're superficial and you're probably looking just on the outside. So no, I'm not. No, it's not like that for me at all.
All right, so it could be Denzel. It could be Denzel.
Yeah, I like Denzel's swag. He have a swag. The way he and if you say he has bow legs, I never noticed that. Jovan has bow legs.
So there you go. So that might be your something.
That might be something.
Let us deal with the answer to our poll before we continue as well.
Let me tell you, actually, I don't even know how to put my phone on silent. I got a new case and it's a struggle.
Well, you might have to take it out from the case.
I'll figure it out at some point,
right.
Or I might just have to go and.
At least the sound is not very loud, so so that's good. It's one of those kind of nice quiet beeps that I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, try to figure it out. Anyway. So I reached out to you and I said, sometimes I just create them myself, but I reached out to you and I said, Jael, I need something for our fun poll. And then you sent me a note saying, what would your son, Giovanni, say
about me?
About you. And you gave us 3 options. One, that you can cook. But definitely not that one. I mean, Jael is always posting pictures of Giovanni cooking. So
no, I can cook, but Giovanni would never say that because Giovanni has never eaten my food.
What?
Because I don't cook.
You don't cook. So
Jovan does all the cooking, and that was a prerequisite when I was asking God for a man. The prerequisite was that he had to cook.
Oh my goodness!
Not because of anything else, but I just don't like the kitchen.
Okay, so that one is trick enough.
That's off.
And then we had 2 other options that you tell a lot of jokes and that you're a tough mommy. I came to you and I said, I think it might be that you tell a lot of jokes. So tell me if I was right.
You're right. I do tell a lot of. I don't know. Like I don't even know. I think I tell a lot of jokes apparently based on what Giovanni thinks. Giovanni thinks I could easily be a stand-up comedian, and you know what? That might be something that I might decide to venture in at some point.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
But he thinks I tell good jokes, and for a 10-year-old who enjoys his mommy's jokes to the point he rolls on the floor and he goes, "That was a good one, mommy." And yeah, he enjoys. We enjoy each other's presence a lot. My kids and I, especially Giovanni. Giovanni's the older one.
Okay.
Yeah, so we enjoy. We went to just before Christmas. We went to Miami for a week together. And he says we need to do this again. We have a
family vacation.
It was just the 2 of us.
Oh,
it was just the 2 of us. Yeah.
You just took your son.
Yeah, my shopping body. We go on bus shop. He was there helping me carry stuff, and
how old is he, Jael?
He's 10 going on 40.
He's 10 going on 40.
He's an old soul. He's very.
How old is the
youngest is Jazz.
The younger one.
Jazz is 4.
Jazz is 4.
Yes.
Okay.
Jazz is
4. All right. So we're going.
So I definitely
tell you.
I'm not a tough mom.
You're not a tough mom.
No, I'm not a tough mom. I am tough when it comes to responsibility, but I'm not a tough mom. So a lot of things you get away with. A lot of things like he can get away with you in. I'm not a tough mom. I can't consider it a form of expression, and as long as you're not cursing me, I'm express yourself, my brother.
Express yourself.
I am not tough at all. I believe in rewards. So if he does well, he'll be rewarded. Like he did well. So I promised him that he would have taken a trip, and he was pleasantly shocked and surprised when I told him that we were going to Miami, and he was like, "What? You going to Miami?" So he was very excited about it.
He was quite excited about that. Okay, so we are live with Jael Joseph on the In the Spotlight radio show. I'm looking there for one particular clip that I'm not seeing in my folder, but I am suspecting that it's this one that I was looking for, so let's see if we can get it.
I'm so thankful to have you as my mommy. You always tell me jokes that make me smile. Whenever I feel down, I know I can talk to you. I love you, mommy.
I love you too, Jojo. Yeah, that's my dog. That's my dog.
You saw my eyes on the computer.
Yeah, I was like, Giovanni was up to something.
And for some reason, I'm not seeing it there. But anyway,
Yeah.
we had it on the phone, so we could at least, while you're talking about that particular son, that we could.
Yeah, it's my dog. Giovanni's my dog.
Yes.
Like we get along very well. And I always wanted to have the relationship my mom had with us, with my kids. She's always very close to us. We could talk to her about anything, and that I feel in our culture is a mistake that we make. We make our kids fear us, and when they go astray, we wonder like, why didn't we know? Why didn't we see the signs? Or we tend to not know a lot of things that's going on in their lives until eventually somebody come and tell us something. We always wait for for the community to tell us things about our children. So my mom was always very, very close with all of us, and I wanted that kind of relationship with my kids. I wanted my kids to feel comfortable coming to talk to me about anything, including when it's time to have sex. I want them to be able to feel comfortable coming to their mom. I feel like we should be the first people that they trust, and they tell certain things, and not the rest of the world, and I have that relationship with Giovanni. Like, we talk about everything, and he says I'm jokes, but he's pure jokes too. Like, he's such an intelligent young man, and I'm so proud that he's my child, and he's a mommy pleaser, and that's okay because he knows my expectations of him, and he works towards that. And I mean, he's a kid, he's going to make his mistakes and stuff, but he's a really good child, and that's my dog. We can go anywhere.
Yes.
I'm looking forward for us to go clubbing one of these days.
Oh my goodness.
We're going to hit up the clubs.
That's in a few years to come.
Yes.
Since we're talking about the children, let us just do that, and then we will get to talking about Jael and growing up and all of that. So let's continue on the track of the children. So tell me about the other boy.
So Jazz got his name because I consider him the music of my heart. We were not expecting, like, up to now I don't even know when we had sex, like, because I was in the middle of putting together 767 Girls Rock 2, that was in 2017, and I was busy shooting, doing all kinds of stuff, getting content, doing ads, doing flyers, doing all of these different things, preparing the venue. And I remember one of my sponsors was my insurance company, who supported me, whenever I went on these ventures and stuff. And they had a plan that they were grandfathering. So when I say grandfather, they were getting rid of that specific plan. They were no longer going to offer it to people. So they were like, we want you to promote that during your show because we want people to, especially women, to come and things. So I was like, but how can I promote it if I don't have it? How can something be grandfathered and it's so exceptional and I don't have it? I need to get this, right? So they said to me, well, yeah, you can go, you can sign up for it or whatever. I mean, I already had a life insurance policy, and I was like, you know what, let me just do this. And they said to me, well, when was your last physical? And I'm like, gosh, I could not remember.
Oh,
and they're like, well, you need to get a physical in order to get that policy. So I called up Dr. Roberts, and I was like, I need to come in to see you and whatever. And I came in to see her and whatever. And she's examining me because she had to do like a full blood test and all of that. And then she looked at me and she looked at me funny, and I was like, what? She's like, I'm not sure, but I think you might be pregnant. And I was like, Isa? Like, when did that happen? And found out that I was pregnant with Jazz. And it was a tough process because my first pregnancy was a breeze. But my second, I mean, you really gave me a run for my money. I was always tired. I never really, actually, I got morning sickness, but it was more like vomiting. Like, I would just vomit unnecessarily. Or like it was just, and before I found out I was pregnant in April. By July, I was still vomiting. Like, I was still sick, like it just was not leaving me and stuff. And everybody would ask me, what are you having? And I'm like, I don't know yet. I have to wait till I'm 5 weeks in order to go in. So I booked the day for me to go in to do my testing, and something happened, and they called me back and they said to me to find out what I'm having, right? They said to me the machine is done or something. I can't remember what it was, but they had to reschedule for me to find out what I'm having, what baby I'm having. And I was carrying so differently. I was like, probably a girl, probably, because it was low, and I was still as pretty as ever, but I just found that it was just different from the first. So they had to reschedule my testing, and they scheduled it for September the 18th. And that
Hurricane
was
Maria.
Hurricane Maria. So I did not find out what I was having until I was a month before I was due. That's when I found out. So I didn't have a name. And I had all of these unisex names that I was coming up with. And I told Jovian, you had the first one, this one is mine. Whatever I name, you just have to go with it, right? Because Giovanni is like the rewording of his name. So Jovian is Jovian. I took the I and I put it on the outside and it became Giovanni, because I didn't want him to be a junior. I think juniors are overrated. I wanted him to have his own name. So he became a version of his dad with the same letters as his dad. So I'm like, Jazz has to be me. But
Yes.
I didn't want it to be Joel. I didn't there were so many different names I was playing with and stuff. And I said, and that was around right around that time. I was kind of like rediscovering myself, and probably later on we could talk a little bit about that. But I just felt a different kind of conviction, And I said, when he's born out, he'll tell me what he wants to be named. That's exactly what I said. And my cousins, all of them, they were calling him the baby. They were calling him the baby because nobody knew. And when he was born, he hummed the entire day. The entire day. The whole day. I was like, your name is Jazz.
Yes, and
that was it.
That was it. You have had 2 boys.
Yes.
Are you planning on having more?
No.
And I hope
Tubes at Tie Shop is closed. End of story.
Is that so?
That's it.
Moving on.
It's a wrap.
Moving right along.
No
It's
more.
a wrap. No more. No more. Okay. All right, Jael. So let's talk a bit about you. I described you earlier on as an extraordinary young woman. And I say that because I was looking for this one word that I could use to describe you and everything that encompasses Jael. Some people say that you're very energetic. Some people say that you probably have lavouille and so on and so forth. How would you describe yourself if you were to do that?
One word, well, it's kind of a hyphenated word.
It's all right.
It's
take that.
I consider myself a multi-hyphenate.
Right. So I saw that in your biography, and I actually have a note that I intended to speak to you about that. You see, it's written right there. Explain to us what you mean by that.
Well, a multi-hyphenate is a person that is good at everything. So I think I'm good at anything I put my hands to do. I feel I embody my creator, and I was blessed to be able to do anything that I want to do, and anything I put my hands to do, I do it well. And so I consider myself a multi-hyphenate, and not even to be pompous or to be boastful or anything. I feel like we walk around saying we are a child of the king, and we're not kingly, or we're not princess-like or queenly. So I've embodied my creator, and I believe that I can do everything good.
You also wrote in your biography, I was told once to never bite off more than I can chew. And you went on to say, I don't believe in that saying.
No.
I rather choke on greatness than nibble on mediocrity. Again, explain that to us.
It's very clear. I understand biting off more than you can chew as having too much doing and you cannot control, or you cannot take control or take charge. Things are falling apart and it's just not working out, right? That's how what I consider biting off more than you can chew, because you now have so many things on your plate trying to juggle, and you're able to do it. And that can be the case for some people, and that's okay. But that's not me. I am somebody that I would rather choke on greatness. I would rather I choke and finish the job than to take crumbs. Like it's not gonna happen.
So you're not giving any lackluster.
Nope.
Anything.
Nope. Not happening. I've done that for the most part, and anybody who knows me, I mean, even when I worked here at Q95, anybody who knows me knows that if I say I'm going to do something, I will deliver it, and I'll deliver it to the best of my ability, and that's who I am. That's who I always was. And if I didn't do good at anything, I'm not kidding, there have been things I have not done well at in my before this life, because I feel like I'm a rebirth of my former self. There were things that I didn't do that I did that were not necessarily great, or wasn't good, or was probably frowned upon, or whatever. But that was then, when you get
grown.
Not just grown. I think I've learned who I am and what is within me, and I've understood what I can do, how much influence I have, both good and bad. So I understand my power, the power that is within me, and I believe in karma, and whatever you do, I believe it'll come right back. It'll come right back. So because I know all of these things, I make it my conscious decision is to constantly do things well or put out goodness, so that, and even, I know how to be petty for that, I know how to be petty. I can chew you out and spit you out like you wouldn't believe, right? But I have learned to control that, and I have learned that it is a weakness, and people can feed off of that weakness, and
all of that is growth.
All of that is, I guess, is growth.
All that is growth. It's maturing, So I think you've gone through.
Man, like you can't do nothing to. If I respond to you, it's because I just giving you a little, know.
And speaking about you doing things and doing it well, our first encounter, I believe, was here at Q95, when I did mention, that in one of my posts that you were there at the beginning, and you were literally there at the beginning, because when I came here to do the In the Spotlight radio show, getting the approval and so from Mr. G, you were in fact, I think we may have spoken about it before.
We did. You had called me to your office, and you said you had an idea for a show. You had the name. I did. I'd come under your eyebrows.
Okay, now we say that.
I come into your eyebrows.
Which is one of your skills. What was it called?
Threading.
Threading. She threaded my eyebrows.
Yes. So you invited me to come, and while we were talking, you were just like, I want to do this show, but I'm not sure what radio station I should. You were not sure what radio station, because you're talking about your relationship with DBS, and I remember very vividly, the conversation, and I said, you should come to Q95, because at the time I was at Q95, and I'm like, you should come. I think you will have a space here, you can speak freely, you don't have, nobody will block whatever you have to say, or any personalities that you probably want to have on and stuff. And then I said, you want me to talk to Mr. J? You're like, no, I'll send my proposal in. Because I was ready to go back and ask him. You know, and I remember you then, when you got the approval and everything, you then asked me to voice.
And you worked with me so well.
Yeah.
So Jael does the outro. She actually does a link.
Yes.
Just a little link in between that you could just play in between the program. But you even went further. At the time, you were involved in advertising, and you went out.
Yes, I got sponsors for your show.
And you were here that this show had some really good sponsors. And you know, you really gave your all to supporting me in doing this, and I do remember that from the beginning. And that's what I mean when I said she was there from the beginning, and she was just as driven as she is there now with me. It was not her show, it was me coming to do a show, but I got incredible support from you, Jael.
Yeah,
I just want to say thank you.
That's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to support each other. And I'm glad you mentioned support, Fadina, because this is something that is lacking, especially in our environment, our society here in Dominica. We don't know how to support each other. We don't know how to support women. And I was having a conversation with Jovian earlier on today, and you know, one of the things that we noted is that if there are probably about 20,000 Dominicans on Facebook. So why do you have no 20,000 people watching your live right now? Why don't you have 20,000 people following you? Why don't groups like Triple K get 1 million views? Because if 20,000 people share your stuff, then at least 3 people will reshare it.
Yep.
That is close to how much? 60,000 people at least that you have in less than no time. My math not that great, so I might make a mistake. But but I'm telling you, like, we don't support each other, and we're so quick to judge, and we're so quick and eager to speculate and put our own versions of everything. I know I saw recently, well, when Shensia, you know, just launched that video, got so much traction, and everybody had to say, oh, she thief Dennis Belfon's song, blah, 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 and people were so upset. Caribbean people were so upset, and it's ingrained in our culture, where we so quick to defend, and we so quick to criticize, and we so quick and watching, you know, Dennis Belfon in a video with Shensia, you know, excited of her video, because guess what? Shensia is a dancehall artist, right? And Shensia's first opportunity to make it big in mainstream music, where she gets respected by the Western world, because forget that you're on a little Caribbean island, collaborating with Megan Thee Stallion, she decided to take a soca song to make, like, and we don't even think about these things, that she's now put soca, she's a dancehall artist, on a light, almost taking the light away from herself, because she is in New York partying with Dennis, talking about this song. It's on her timeline, everybody saw it, I'm sure people have been seeing it, and that is what support is. And I believe we lack that in Dominica. We don't know how to support each other, especially women. We're very quick to look at everybody's day fun, everybody's faults, and everybody's what we consider their issues, or their faux pas, or all of these things, and we always want to bring such light to that, and we're always ready to jump on them and chew them up and spit them out and whatever. Why don't we take that same energy and support when people do good and when people do well? And I think I get this from my father, you know, always wanting to see people do better than himself, and that's why I always remain blessed, because.
And we'll actually, as we go through the program, get a sense of some of the work that you've been doing in terms of supporting other women.
Of course.
So we'll definitely do that. So we are live. 8:47 is the time in the studios, and we're talking to Jael. So we're going to get to know more about Jael and her roots. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Angela Brumant, Dominican, originally living in Toronto. To tell you about my homegirl and my good friend Shells, which is my pen name for her, would require 3 days instead of the 2 to 3 minutes, which was allotted. I am super proud of her as a woman, a mother, and my dearest friend. You are my inspiration, not just for your achievements, but rather being someone who went after your goals and never gave up, even when you faced trials and tribulations. You stood firm with not even fluttering an eyelash. LOL, inside joke. You are a amazing person, and I respect you immensely. You are one of the most accomplished person I know. It's a privilege to be your friend. Keep reaching for the stars, my friend, and go way beyond until you touch it. Love you, girl.
Let me tell you.
My name is Catherine.
I am Jael's aunt and second mother.
Yes.
I was given the privilege to give her first name, and I assisted in her upbringing from birth to preschool and then high school. I've known Jael to be a strong-willed, brave, and determined individual. She is self-motivated, and her innate personality has been the driving force in her pursuit towards her success. In spite of her many challenges, she always strives for excellence, which proves to be paying off big time. I am proud of her achievements thus far, and I encourage her to keep pressing towards the finish line. I pledge my prayers and support always.
Hi, Auntie Shelly. This is Evie. You remember when you were the first person I saw when I was born? And now everyone says I look like you. I hope to be as bold, brave, and accomplished like you. I love you, and I'm so proud of you.
Yes, for that, you take me.
It was about time.
Yes.
So let us talk about Catherine Hippolyte.
Yes.
So Catherine Hippolyte says she's the person who gave you your name, your first name.
First name.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the growing up element, the family element of Jael Joseph, your heritage, your background. I know this part might get a little bit emotional for you, so I just want you to gather your strength.
Okay, gathering.
And let's talk about Jael and where she came from.
Well, I was born at Princess Margaret Hospital, like everybody. Well, call it Princess Margaret Hospital, but now it's the Dominica China Friendship
Hospital.
Yeah, it's not that part of me to get there. But I was born February 18th. So next month is my birthday, and I would say I had a really good childhood. My parents were very much involved in church. So my dad was I guess a pastor, you would say, like in the Pentecostal church. My mom at the time, I think she was a district nurse when I was a child. I do recall being the district nurse. I could be wrong. But I remember, growing up in Vegas, always being around my aunt, especially because my mom, at some point, my mom decided to go out to Portsmouth to work. So she'd gotten a transfer, and she decided that we would go to school in Portsmouth. And we were the only children who had ever attempted that, because normally children went to Portsmouth to school when they got to high school. So you did your early your preschool, primary school in your village, and then you ventured out to Portsmouth when you were of high school age. So my father at the time had a little bus, a little beige bus. So he would take us to school. I think I started in Portsmouth it was then PGS, Portsmouth Government School. Now it is Roosevelt Douglas
Primary School?
No, what is it called?
Okay.
The government school. I can't remember the name now. So that's why I went to school. Before that, I actually went to preschool in Portsmouth. So I went to Rapture Time Preschool. Yes, my girl, Rapture Time Preschool. That was at the time Pastor BJ was Pastor Bell? I think it was one of them was the pastor at the time, and teacher Glenda and teacher Glenda, Ernie. Gosh, I can't believe I'm remembering their names now. Teacher Glenda, oh my God, these were like my teachers, in preschool. I developed some really good friendships from them. So people like Leah Wallace, Sheldon Rodney, that is DJ Spawner. These were like Leanne Irish, she's at ECCB. These were my friends, in preschool, and then I went on to primary school and then high school. Growing up in Vegas, was difficult for a few reasons. One, I feel like the community to some extent would vilify my family a lot. Like, yeah, man, we experienced victimization at some point or another when I was growing up, and I think they would use my father, because my father is very passionate. My father left the church when I was young, and when my father would drink, he would become a beast. You know, and when I say a beast, you know when they tell you spirits, I believe in that. You know, I believe that. And my father always loved us, and we knew he always loved us. But again, a lot of it has to do, and until you understand your family, until you understand your parents and how they were brought up, you don't understand why they treat you how they treat you. My father grew up without a lot of love, and I learned that later on in life, you know, and it was very hard for him to show love, because especially to his children. So it was always about respect. He had mottos like spare the rod, spoil the child. He had things like row your own boat, which started on me, you know, row your own boat. He would tell us, don't depend on any man for anything, and which is why we are how we are today, you know, where we're very self-reliant, self-sufficient, independent of, you know, that's why we became the kind of women we became today. And my father would teach us how to do everything, to build dog house. I know how to build dog house. I know how to tile. We knew how to do basic plumbing, and we knew how to paint. My sister Aurel, who was always the artistic one, he would make sure when he was painting the football shirts for the guys in the village that she would be part of it. He always engaged us in everything that he had to do. When he made fish pots, we knew how to, all of us was in it, you know, making fish pots. It didn't have anything that he didn't teach us how to do, right? So when I say I don't like cooking, it's not because I was never taught. It's because that was not my thing. My thing was making juice. And we had agreed that I am the best juice maker, and I can season a chicken bad. And that was it, right? And my sister was a chef, right? My father did a lot of the cooking at home. And I remember, you know, when my father really stepped out of church and started, you know, being part more, doing stuff in the community, like he would be. My father was on every committee that you can name on. Credit union, football, cricket. He was umpire. He was MC. My father was jack of all trades, right? Right. So he did a lot of things, right? And I remember, you know, we didn't get meter at home from Duas until after my parents died, when everybody else had meter, because if pipes broke, my father would go up and unblock it, so Duasco didn't have to come to Vegas. You know, he was very much into his community and doing things for his community. And at some point in time, I think during my teenage years, my early teenage years, people he called friends, you know, would say a lot of things about me to him. Yes, my boy, yes. And I know who they are. Like, I see them, I know what they said, I remember at one time they had said that I was pregnant and I had thrown a child. My mother had aborted the child for me. And then they said that my father had impregnated me. Yes, my girl, yes. Yes, they said it. They said those things. And those things were said to destroy me. Like, it couldn't have been anything else, you know? And I mean, I've been here for quite some time. I can count on my hands the amount of times I've gone back to Vegas. Not saying that everybody in Vegas is like that, but just the environment had so much negativity in it. I try my best to stay away from it. I mean, I have people in Vegas I love. You know, there are community people that I'm still friends and very close with. But these are the kinds of things that they said, you know, and it was hurtful then. And my mom was what really kept me, you know, grounded and said, we know it's not the truth, and we know what it is, and you're going to be great. My mother always said that to me, You know, you're going to, I remember, and even my father in his own, you know, in his own way. I remember once a teacher said to me, her report was, you know, my report card always said, great student, but she talks too much, right? And my father said once, you know, her talking is going to make her money. And I see that like they almost like they manifested all of these things.
She talks too much.
Yes, like they manifested all of these things to my life. And yes, my father would drink, and I remember I get plenty blows. I ended up in hospital once, you know, because somebody went back and told him that I was with some guy, and you know, like they would just make up stories. And it's not just Vegas is not an isolated. It happens across.
May I interject
our community?
A bit, Jael? Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Were you a little?
Oh, I was always loud.
Out there.
I was always loud. I was always, what you see is what you get. I would answer you. I would give you back your fire quick, fast, and in a hurry. I was always quick though. You know, like I was always quick on my toes. You couldn't. You know, they used to call us the little ninjas because I knew how to jump off a vehicle while it moving. It didn't have nothing that we didn't know how to do. You know, we'd send people and découvert quoi. You know, the découvert quoi is where you jump off the cliff into the ocean and you could see the cross in Vegas. You know, 150 feet down. Who get blessed, get blessed. Yeah, so we were rebels. And we grew up like little tomboys. But once I started becoming myself as a young girl, boys would think that I was afraid of my mother. My mother always said to me, I would know if you're having sex. You know, I'm not sending you to school for you to go have sex. I was always afraid. I was scared of that, right? So I couldn't even understand, you know, where all of that was coming from. But it came. It happened. They did it. They said it. There was a lot of hurtful things. I mean, that is just the tip of the iceberg. There were a lot of, but it's not just. I say they can.
Sisters?
I think they all endured their side of things, but in different ways. I can't speak for them. I can only speak for myself. My sister, especially my younger sister, my dad had a very close relationship because she's like his brain splitting, like she's part of his brain. Like she's very much like him in the sense, very smart, very, very, very smart. My father was a walking dictionary and an encyclopedia as well. You know, he would spit words. Like I remember people coming to him to, Rosie Douglas came to him to write speeches for him. You know, like our home was like the political, you know, soiree would always happen at home and stuff. So my younger sister and my father was always very, very close, you know, and he liked the fact that she was as smart as him. And so she always got a little special preferential treatment. But that still didn't change how we felt about him. You know, I remember, you know, we didn't get along. We didn't get along for the longest while. You know, I left Dominica and when I moved to Canada.
You and your daddy?
Me and my daddy did. Me and my daddy didn't speak for almost 4 years. You know, because
what was that one thing that led to that?
Well, my father at the time was a Stone Cold Workers supporter. And my friends were all labor rights. And I remember they coming up from Portsmouth to come to Vegas because Vegas had a big convention. And my father said, none of us not allowed to go. And I went. And he gave me a beating. When I tell you a beating, I ran into the bathroom and the toilet ended up breaking. He was so upset that I had disobeyed him and I had gone, you know, and he was pissed off.
It wasn't that you cared about politics at the time.
No, it was just my friends. My friends came with their parents and whatever, and I wanted to lime. But too, I feel to some extent though, it was kind of like a double standard where my father was concerned. May he so rest in peace, because he would say one thing and then do another thing sometimes, and I'm like, okay, like we see you know, like you 1 week you want because platform the next week and your labor platform is like we see you, you know. But that was the kind of person he was, you know. Even when he died, I remember in his eulogy, my sister and I read his eulogy, and we said when we were cleaning up, we got every different political party card. Freedom, Workers, Labor, we got their card, you know, in his possession. So I mean, I forgave him a long time, but it took me some time to get to that point, and I understood he was physically abused by his mother, you know, and that's what he knew, and he was told that he wasn't wanted, you know, that his father had abandoned him and his sister. He was told a lot of stuff, and I learned that later on in life, even after he passed, right? And it took me some time, you know, to understand, but even before he died, I had forgiven him. You know, my father's nickname was Jojo. That's what my mother called him, and I call my son Jojo. You know, so he had all of this ideas and all of this energy. He wasn't for Dominica. You know, like I always, like looking back, I'm like, oh my God, my father could have been like comparable to Nelson Mandela, you know, or a Barack Obama, you know, because he was that person. He had a presence, and he demanded a presence when he'd walk into a place. You know, he demand that you look at him, you know, you pay attention to him and stuff.
But I'll tell you what though, Jael, that I'm picking up from what you're saying, in spite of the challenges that you all may have had, you are the man.
I kind of became him to some extent. I hope I don't have all his qualities, because there were some bad ones, but I hope I embrace all the good ones, you know. But the good doesn't come with the bad, right? So my father was misunderstood, you know, I think by me as a child growing up. And when I learned, you know, what kind of person he was, you know, later on, and you know, even when people come and they tell you, you know, your father was, I remember my father would help people survey all that, and he had so many people land papers. You know, when he died, we had to pass around, give people their land paper, because he would hold them for people, because they were scared that they would lose them. And you know, there were people who reached out to me after wanting me to take over from where he left off. From where he left off, they were like, would you be okay in you know, holding my documents for me? You know, there were people who could not read and write who he helped. He would write their and they wanted me because they trusted my father. You know, my father would help them buy land.
But what was his actual job?
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all
My father started off as a teacher.
Okay.
So a lot of people in Vegas would probably tell you, or not necessarily Vegas, but Pennville would tell you that he taught them. He taught Pennville, he taught in Tebow. At one time, I think he might have even been a principal at one time. So that was his very first job. I think I remember him telling us he was 15 when he became a teacher, and he had to help his family, so he became a teacher to support his family, and he taught for quite some time until I think I was about 3, which is when he started getting more involved in politics, and then he started doing contractual work. So he'd build roofs, and he'd build. Yeah, my father. He was the first multi-hyphenate. You know.
Yes.
he was really good at whatever he did. He was really good, and even to this day, I meet people all the time. Like when we were stepping out, you know, the pastors, you know, and he was trying to explain who my dad was and stuff. I mean, he was respected by a lot of people. He was on. When the NGCU amalgamated, he was part of that movement, you know, the credit union movement and stuff. He was on Fisher Folk. He had boats. He did fishing. My father did everything.
Your father did everything.
He did everything, and I mean, looking back, you know, I wish I knew what I did now, because it would have been so much different. You know, I didn't know, and even like speaking with, you know, my grandfather who passed away during COVID. That was his dad, and speaking to my aunts, you know, that he on that side of the family, and hearing their story. You know, somebody tells you one thing, somebody tells you another, and then you put together and you're like, that don't make any sense. You know, like it just gives you a different understanding of who that individual was, and I wish I knew. But what I did know is I knew my mom.
So we're going
I knew my mom, and my mom, you know, would always share her stories growing up in Lao. My mom was from Lao, and she was born in Pennville, but when she and my aunt, Auntie Kato, that is my second mom. Their mom left and moved to England and left them with her mom, and their dad went and took them from my great grandmother and brought them to Lahore to live with them. And my mom grew up like a tomboy, climbing coconut tree, all kinds of stuff. And later on in life, she became a nurse. She became a Christian. Actually, she became a community health aide and a Christian. And she met my dad right after nursing school. Or she met my dad while in nursing school in community, while she was a community nurse. And then they got married. But my mom was always this sweet, like, my mom was like the sweetest person I ever knew. You know, like legit, like angel, like literally. And she, same birthday as you, November 11th.
Okay.
And she always wanted to help people. She always wanted to put a smile on people's face. She was always caring. She was always loving, you know. She had a little bad mind, you know, when you piss her off, she would use her bad words when she had to, but not to disrespect you, you know. And so my mom, she was a sweet person. She liked to clean. She liked everything clean. You know, the house had to be clean. I remember when she couldn't clean it because she started getting bronchitis. She stood like, I swear it was torture for us to clean. We had to clean every single Saturday. We had to clean ours. We're not going in the sea and bathe, you know. She was such a sweet individual, and the people who knew her in the community, she worked as a district nurse in Vegas, you know, and I meet people all the time, and they say to me, you know, your mom named my child Victoria.
Victoria, Queen Victoria.
She was a queen indeed. So she and my aunt were very close, and when my aunt tell you she's she's my second mom, like my mom and my aunt were like inseparable, like chalk and cheese, yin and yang, whatever you want to call it. And my aunt had permission to beat us. That is how tight they were, right? And she was just like everything, you know, like when I tell you everything, like I remember we would go on vacation, she always wanted us to go and see the world. She always wanted to know the world. She was always curious, you know. And we went to New York, we went to, yes, my mother would, and I remember the first time we went to New York, I think it was like in 91, and my mother came down in her jeans, and at them time she was Pentecostal, Porto Pentecostal, right? And my mother come down in jeans, and I remember a friend of mine saying, you go New York and you come down in jeans? Who you think you be? You don't know you're not supposed to wear jeans. It should just, I'm so tell them one take it out on me. Did that give me my money? And they don't wear jeans, and before you know it, everybody was wearing jeans.
Okay.
Everybody was wearing jeans. And my mom, she loved to give. She always, I remember when we were children growing up, you know, when our clothes were she always took very good care of our clothes, right? We had maids when we were young, and they were supposed to wash our clothes a certain way and hang it a certain way, and they couldn't take what they calling it, see when you know when the sun
dew, like
they couldn't, like, so as soon as the sun started to go down, you have to take it out, right? See, I think it's see when they call it, I can't remember the name.
I cannot help you there.
Right, she didn't want, you know, those kinds of, and she wanted our clothes ironed, and we all had our, in a little suitcase, we had our if we get sick, hospital clothes, or like I guess the underwear. We had underwear based on our age, so that's how we did it. So we knew how much which underwear was whose by our age. So, and I mean, my mom was that kind of person. She was always very organized, you know, even at her workplace, and always wanting to see people excel, and always wanting people to do good. And I remember so many women, like even this one particular person that I'm still close to this day, she would say, you know, your mother always encouraged me, because people used to say so many things about me. Your mother always used to say, they don't know you, they just know what they think they know of you. Do not let them destroy you. And you know, she always said how my mom encouraged her, you know. And she was that kind of person, you know, like she loved people. She loved taking care of people. I remember people coming to our home, you know, sick. I remember people having babies on our step. Let me tell you, we used to have petty action. You know, you're pregnant and you're coming up to see the nurse because you feel like you do. And all of a sudden, baby decide that come, and I remember one guy come and they had cut his wrist and his thing was hanging, and we saw a lot of stuff. We had a nice big medicine kit at home in case she have to stitch you up at home in case she can run back to the health center. That was the kind of person she was, you know, and leaving Vegas, going all the way to Roseau to do delivery, because she was also a midwife, do delivery, bring you to Roseau, stay or how many hours. Then sometimes in those days the ambulance used to sometimes drop them in Portsmouth and not bring them up to Vegas. Yes, she experienced and have to bomb ride, you know, to come up, to go back up to Vegas. My mom had all of that she went through, and she was always an amazing person. I towards the end of her life, you know, she spent quite a bit of time with me in Canada. She came up to Canada to see me, and I remember, you know, while I was in Canada, that was something that I've done religiously, even to this day. You know, I make sure my family's taken care of. We have our barrel, you know, we send if we send a barrel every couple of months, you know, we send a barrel of food and whatever. And my mom came up once that year, and you know, she'd stand up at my apartment and she'd watch me go. At that time I wasn't driving, I didn't have a vehicle yet. And she said to me, you know, I don't want you to shop anymore for us and send any barrels. I said, why? She said, you work so hard. Like, I'm watching you. She said, I'm watching my little girl, you know, going down in the snow, and you work so hard. You know, I was working 4 jobs, you know, because I wanted to have my entertainment money, my saving money, my party money, and my, you know, and my barrels, you know, make sure I always did barrels. And that's something that my family in Canada kind of, like, they do this religiously. They help those of us who are back home and stuff, and it's something that is done.
That's a good trick. That's a good thing. That's really good to do.
Something that everybody does, you know. And my family, that is Venice Bellamy, has his sisters. They all come together and they send stuff, you know, for the family, and I kind of picked that up from them because I lived with Auntie Audrey for some time. And I mean, I would send them barrels, and my mom said, stop it. You know, she was like, it's okay. We'll make do. You know, don't do it anymore, because she felt, you know, sad, you know, I guess, to see me. One of the things my mom did when I lived in Canada and she was here and I was in Canada, she wrote me a letter every week. So I have a box of letters of my mom, and let me tell you, like, she was such an amazing person. Like, the things she would wish for you, and I remember one letter she said, you know, she hoped that God isn't jealous because of how much she loves us, you know. She loved her children. She really loved us, and she wanted us to do well, and like, everything we do is to keep my mom and my dad's legacy alive.
Of course.
You know, because I know they wanted well for us. You know, I know my mom she always said she wanted all her kids to go to university because she never had that opportunity, you know, and you know, she was just an amazing person. Like, I cannot put a finger on one bad trait my mom had. You know, she was so loving, so caring. You know, villagers would come at any time, and my mom would go. And sometimes I used to get so vexed. I used to say, like, why do I have to come at that time? You know, like, I was so upset, and she would always just go. She'd say they need help, you know, and walking. My mother used to walk to go and see people, like, people that, when I don't even have road, you know, to walk, to go. And I used to say, I'm not easy. Like,
what was it like, Jael, to lose both your parents?
Losing my mom was, because she went first, and it was, I don't want to say it was expected, but she was sick for some time, and she was kind of preparing us without preparing us, you know, and the things that she'd say. I remember, like, when she met Jovian, you know, she said to me, this is one thing that I owe her. That's the only thing I owe her. She said to me, make sure you get married. You know, that's the only thing I owe my mom. I've done everything that she wanted. She always said, because she when she met Jovian, she instantly loved him, you know, and she put him to talk. She sat him
I
down.
don't blame her, the Jovian, but I know.
I know. So she instantly loved him, and she said to me, she said to him first that make sure you get married, and he told her that I don't want to get married because like she didn't want us living together before we were married. That was what it was. She wanted us to get married, and I told her I don't window shop. I have to try on the clothes and make sure it fits.
All right.
And she told me she had come in sack with kosh. You know, in her, I don't know, that's just things that she would say. She would say, you know, and she loved him instantly. And I remember, you know, when she died, you know, she died in Guadeloupe, and it was I was at Q95, I was downstairs, and they called me, actually, she died in Jovian's mom's arms. That is like another story. And she died, and I felt like everything had just left me, you know, like I had lost part of me, you know, when she died. But her letters, she know why she was writing those letters.
That's gold.
Let me tell you, like her letters, I have scanned them all, so they're in the clouds as well, you know, because you never know what can happen. And I remember during Hurricane Maria, I had her letters in my backpack. Yes, my girl.
You saved them.
I was gonna drown, but not those letters. You know, they were in my Swiss Army waterproof backpack, because, you know, her letters kept me through, and her letters are almost like a guide, you know, constantly. Anytime I feel down, I've scanned them so I can access them on my phone. You know, I just go and I read them. You know, I read one or two and stuff, and sometimes I cry, and sometimes I don't. But I know she's still there. I know she's present, and she's proud of us, and she's happy. When my dad died, that tore me up. You know, that was really tough, because I had just had Giovanni. I had just come back down. He was supposed to stay with me that night, and he decided he's going back up Vegas. And he had fallen off a vehicle, and he had a pelvic fracture. And his mom had died a couple weeks after he got hurt. So he had asked the doctors to let him go home so he could go to his mom's funeral. And he never went back to the hospital. He would just go for his checkups and stuff. And when I saw him, the day I came down, I think we came back down on the 14th of December. And the 15th, he came up to Roseau. He was actually doing a project for IRC. And he had to go to fisheries to... My father wasn't working. Even if his pelvic fracture, he take a feb, come different. He had to drop off some stuff, and when we got to fisheries, he could not get off the vehicle, right? So I said to him, like, you're not well. Like, why are you doing the doctor? Where you going? Like, my father, though, anybody who knew my father knew that he would never come to Roseau in slippers. And that day he was wearing slippers. His feet were swollen. They couldn't fit in his shoes. And I remember telling the doctor, you know, my father's foot is swollen. The doctor watched me and he told me, you're not a doctor. Right? That's what he told me. So I left that alone. And he had slippers in his foot. His dress shirt, his dress pants, right? And slippers in his foot. And he said to me, drop me off by the bus stop. I said, Daddy, but why you don't just come up? And that was when I really started calling him Daddy again, you know, around that time, because I used to call him AJ. For the longest while, I used to call him AJ. And he had this thing when we would say Daddy, he'd say, Daddy, you know, like. So he was a jokester. I think probably that's where I get my sense of humor. But he insisted on going back up to Vegas. And he said, go, bring me by the bus stop. Theo, who is like his boy, you know, Theo.
Yes, of course.
Theo and Lennox, that is Deco, and these were his people. And, you know, he and Theo left, and they went up. And I told him, when you get home, call me. And so I was still concerned. Not concerned to feel like he was going to die, right? And he didn't call me until about like minutes to seconds. I say, but but where you say so, like, how comes only now you're reaching the vacants? He say, I pass the back road is Penville Road, right? I pass the back road and the man pass and stop and tell everybody bye-bye before he died. Next morning, I got a call. My father is dead.
Oh my goodness.
Just like that. That really that hurt me more than anything else, you know, and just knowing that he would not get to see his grandchildren grow up, you know, and all of these things. Like he was looking forward to Giovanni. He had gotten a little fisherman hat for Giovanni, and he said, if my parents were alive, my children would have probably been living with them, you know, because they were these kinds of people. And my aunt assumed that, well, that's Kato. Auntie Kato, she took that on. And Auntie Kato, when I had Jazz, she came up the year after I had Jazz to Canada, and they bonded so well. Like, Jazz is with her. Oh no, Jazz is with my auntie, you know. Oh no, so Jazz. Jazz is with my auntie.
A part of me this evening, Jael, I can't think of naming Jazz Jael.
Yes.
Jael, you know, I feel some sense of accomplishment tonight, and I'll tell you why. Just giving you the opportunity, because you realize you spent quite a bit of time talking about both your parents. And I just feel like you needed to talk about them.
Yeah, man. They make me wait.
Yes, I just
they
feel
made
you
me
needed to talk about them. And I'm happy that I gave you this opportunity tonight to be able to do that. But you also have sisters.
I do.
So let me just play this, and then you will talk about your sisters.
Yes.
And very accomplished sisters as well.
Very accomplished
Yes.
sisters.
I'm Joycelyn Joseph, Shelley's big sister, and also the eldest of the four. My sister Shelley is one person that I can say truly thrives well in adversity, or must I say, one who allows adversities to propel her into greatness. I don't really have to go into details of the many challenges that she has endured, but I can proudly say that those challenges did not deter her from being successful. I am very proud of my sister for taking the initiative and going back to school, and I'm so proud of her accomplishments. Although she has the support of her circle, I can see it fit to say that her accomplishment is quote-unquote self-made. I admire her great work ethics and discipline to accomplish her goals, and I am proud to be her sister. I will continue to do my part in praying and supporting and encouraging her. I love and admire her greatly, and I just want to encourage her to continue pursuing and maximize her full potential. There is no limit in you. There is nothing you cannot do. Just keep on going and doing your best.
Hi, this is Jan. Hi, Jael. Jael primarily is my friend. Then we are also cousins, and I also work with her. Doing Jael is a very encouraging person. She has always inspired me to do the best that I can do. There's so many times when I feel like I have too much on my plate, too much is going on, and then I talk to Jael, and Jael has 3-4 times as much, and she's making it work, and she tells me, I know what it's like, Shan, I'm getting 2 hours of sleep, 1 hour of sleep, I have a class in 20 minutes, and she's always showing me that more can be done, and you can really push yourself to achieve great results. I'm always encouraged by Jael, and she also, anytime we have to work together, she really pushes me to do good, she encourages me, she always gives me positive reinforcement, and I really appreciate that. It's very important for young women to support one another, to encourage them, and to showcase their talents. And Jael has definitely helped me to do that. We have a long history of working together, and we've never had any issues. We've always been a good team, and I always tell people that, I work with Jael, and I recommend her for everything. Jael has encouraged me so much in my life, and times when it was difficult for me, she's given me a lot of help and a lot of encouragement, and I can honestly say that I'm proud of her achievements. Even when I see what she's done, I didn't even realize that she was doing all of that stuff, and I wonder, when does she sleep? And I'm just happy to be a part of her journey, and I'm wishing her the best of success in all of her future endeavors. That's all we can say. All of her future endeavors, and congratulations, Jael. We're all proud of you.
So this one was supposed to play a little later on. It just happened to run out because we were going to talk about sisters. Now we heard from Jael earlier on, and that one just ran off as well. It wasn't supposed to play then, but you know, these things happen. It's all right. And then we heard from Joycelyn. Now Aurel is the other one.
Yes.
Now she put most of these together for me and didn't send her own. So yeah, so Aurel said, you know, just tell her that I love her and I care about her and so on and so forth, and that she was busy doing all of this. So I didn't have much work to do at all. She did all of that work for me, and
Thanks, Funky.
I probably just got one or two of the others, but she basically did all of those, and you know, I am so grateful to her for pulling all of this together for me. So thank you, Aurel.
Thank you, Ari.
So Jael, I want you to talk a bit about your sisters. Let's take a few minutes to do that, not a whole 10 minutes.
Yeah, my ride or dies. My ride or dies.
So let us talk about those amazing sisters of you. In fact, when I had initially spoken to you earlier,
You wanted all of us?
I wanted all of you all.
And I tell you, we are all accomplished in our own right.
Correct. So let's talk about, so you had all sisters.
I have only sisters. So Joycelyn is my older sister. She's my dad's daughter, but we've never halved her. You know, like they say half. We've never half. She's. I remember.
She's not no half.
No, she's not no half sister. She's my whole sister.
Right.
So summertime, my mother would send me. She lived in. She's 8 years older than me. She was always. She hit teenagers before me. She finished. You know, so she always. Was the big sister I looked up to, and my mom would send me to St. Martin when she moved to St. Martin to go spend time with her. And Joycelyn, I mean, I learned so many things from Joycelyn, and we were the darker ones, so we'd always say, you know, we the darker ones and the two lighter ones. Like we gang up, you know. And her birthday is January 18th, mine is February 18th, so we like, you know, we in sync with each other and stuff. And then she's a nurse and she has two lovely daughters, Jael and Jael, in St. Martin. And then there's before I sing, one of the reasons why she became a nurse was because of how she saw my mom.
You know, the influence.
My mom was part of, you know, not probably not all of it, but influenced her, you know, to become a nurse. She was an accountant for years, you know, and decided to make a career shift.
That's a major shift.
Major shift. And she decided to become a nurse. And then there's me, and then there's Aurel. So Aurel is a step above a multi-hyphenate, but she does not. She's very shy. She's not as outgoing as me. So Aurel can sing, Aurel can paint, Aurel can sew, Aurel can compose, Aurel can cook, Aurel can do any and everything. I tell you, she can carve wood. She like anything. Like there's nothing that Aurel cannot do. Build costume, make swimsuits. You know, nothing Aurel cannot do. Aurel has we're probably actually Aurel and Jael are closer in age, but Aurel was who I grew up with. You know, like my baby sister, right? She has always supported me, and if I tell Aurel, so I want to do this, she tell me, okay, what do you need from me? You know, that is the kind of relationship we have, and vice versa. Always, you know, one of the things that my mom always said to us, in spite of anything, I don't ever want you guys to fight for anything. There's no reason why. We fought, we've had quarrels, we tell each other, cuss, like some big cuss words, you know, too. Yes, my girl. But before you know it, you know, we mend that, and we're back to loving each other and stuff. And
that's important. We
are so super close. I look up to them. Jael now is on a different kind of level. Like everybody on the next level. And people used to say, your younger sister prettier than you. Know, like people always used to say that. I say, but it's pretty and prettier. You know, I always used to say, you know, those kinds of things, and people would, you know, say, so it's smart and smarter, you know. So she's super intelligent, you know. I'm so proud of everything that she's done, and she was one of the persons that really encouraged me to go back to school. I didn't think she'd expect me to do it when I did it. She knew I would have done it at some point, But when I did it, she was just, I remember, sometimes I would say to her, I don't know if I can learn like those young children. She says your brain was made to stretch. Exercise it, let it stretch, and she would.
That's the kind of motivation.
Let me tell you, she's always been a fire. She said, yes, my sisters, both of them, all of them are my cheerleaders. Like, when I get my grades, I share it with them. Like, they're the first people, screenshots, my grades and stuff. And we love each other like you would not believe. And we ride or die for each other. We will, if you attack one, I always tell people, blood thicker than Kool-Aid, I will eat you up. Like, I would always tell people, mess with anybody but don't mess with my sisters. Because that is when the beast will come out of me, right? And we're tight. I remember, even when sometimes when people would say things about me, they would message me and they'd want to go on the attack, and I'm like, nah, leave them alone. Don't let them why you have to make them feel like they were better than you? Leave them alone, and we're super close. We love each other. We all wear the same shoe size, so that's easier. We actually have a dress that all of us can fit into, one dress. We call it it's a nice flowered dress that I was supposed to pass it on, but I still have it. At some point I'll pass it on. I really like it.
Pass it on to?
I think it's Jael's turn to have it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've had it for a while. For a while. So we love each other fiercely, and if we don't like each other's partners.
So you didn't like my
If we but I don't behave yourself. No, that's another story. That's another story. Those things that thing after my time. No, we are very close, and we love each other. One of the things that we love ink. As you can see, I'm ink out. All of us are inked out, including my oldest sister. She just got another one on her birthday. She said, I'm gonna get another one. And we're obsessed with getting inked. My mother would kill me if she was alive right now. Because she always say, your body is a temple of the Holy Ghost, and stuff. But yeah.
We can't see the tattoo. Well, probably they can see a bit of it.
Yeah, I have a lot of things.
Well, Jael, it's really good to hear that 4 siblings, all female, all girls, in spite of the banters you may have had with each other, which is expected, is natural, that you all have such an amazingly close relationship, and that you support each other so aggressively, you could probably even say, and you are there for each other. And
so aggressively too.
Protect each other.
We do.
And that is good. And I think this is something to be emulated, by others in similar circumstances and situations. So very often, we hear about family situations where there's so much division, there's so much.
It's not going to happen with us. It's not going to happen. But it's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
It's not at all necessary. We all came from the same people, right? So we have a part of them. We all have a part of them. So we have to get along with each other, and we have to be good to each other. We have to love each other, and we love each other fiercely.
You love each other fiercely.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Okay, so Jael, we're gonna get into the talking about Jael and the education and all the things that you've done. So I'm going to give you an opportunity. I don't think you've had a chance to take a sip from your mug.
I did.
But while we do that, while we get ready for that segment, we're going to hear from a few of your friends. A few of your friends. We're going to start with this one. Let's hear from a few of Jael's friends while we get ready to move into other things.
Good evening, Fedina, and good evening to your special guest, Jael Joseph. Jael, this is your friend, and I am very proud of the person you are, whether be it academically or just you being a mom and a friend. Jael, I know how hard it was for you to migrate to Canada to pursue your first and currently pursuing your graduate degree.
I know it was hard to leave the kids. I mean, there were times when you cried, you wish you were home to help the kids with their homework, but that did not stop you from being there for them. You knew exactly when they had classes, you knew when they had assignment, you checked when it was complete, even if you were working remotely, you know, you were still a great mom from where you are. I am happy that you invested in yourself to help yourself grow, because at the end of the day, your family will benefit. You're a great friend. Listen, you're a motivator. You don't only just encourage people to do stuff, but you're in it. For example, I remember when I wanted to do a photo shoot for my 40th birthday. I said, yeah, I would probably do it. And she said, no, Anne, we are going to do it. Here's the photographer. Here are the styles. I can organize. I'll be your producer. You motivate people to do what they want to do, and you don't just leave them along the way. You do it with them. So I'm happy for you. Continue doing what you do. Continue doing the great job that you're doing. I already told that Dominica is too small for you. You know, you need to spread your wings, and the sky is the limit. I expect to see good things for you. Love you, hon.
Hey, Shelly. I'm Jael. This is Ayanda. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to share in this moment with you. I know that every time we talk, I tell you how proud I am of the path you've forged, the woman you're becoming, and the work you're doing. You shine. You always have, lighting up the room when you're near. But what I'm most proud of is that you've made a career out of being yourself, not taking for granted all the hard work you've put in. But when I look at the body of work you've completed, it all just seems like different aspects of the you I've grown to love over the years. It's encouraging to watch you put your natural magnetism to work in all that you do. Daughter, sister, cousin, auntie, mother, friend, student, trailblazer. Congratulations on where you're at now, and I can't wait to share with you in the accomplishments that are sure to come later. X's and O girls, you deserve all the roses. Love you much.
What can I say about Jael? Jael is an amazing friend. She's very thoughtful, very funny, very ambitious, and actually quite industrious. She has an amazing wealth of ideas, and if she truly embraces what she believes she should do, she hits the ground running with it, and usually she gets it done. She's one of those persons that will not necessarily take no for an answer. She does what her mind tells her to do, and like I said, usually she's successful at it. I don't think boundaries define her, and I don't think the opinions of anyone defines her at all. Neither would it ever stop her from achieving what she puts her mind to. All in all, it makes her an amazing individual to know, and her journey through life is actually an exciting one to witness. And honestly, I believe Jael will go very far in life. And she's proven herself already, and she continues to grow and elevate. And it is truly rewarding to witness this and to be part of her life. She's a very good friend to me. She's always been very honest, someone I can lean on, someone who is always willing to help, and she just makes for the perfect package. And I wish her the best, honestly. For me, that's it for now.
So that was Dr. Gilda Nesty.
Yeah, my condolences.
Last voice note there.
Yeah, she just lost her mom.
That is correct.
Yeah, so even doing this is just...
Yes. She was one of those that I contacted.
Yes, she is like... Dr. Nesty has been, she has a piece of my heart,
She's a good friend.
She's a good friend. Good friend, and I hope I can be as good a friend to her, and keep being a good friend to her. And all my friends, I'm surrounded by the right people. they really encourage me. And I'll do anything for them, like anything, you know. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. I am kind of blown away.
I want you tonight.
Yes, you get me.
Yeah.
Chibby chunky.
You can call it that. You can call it that. But clearly, like you said, I think you have a good circle of family, friends, a good group of people. A lot of them refer to you as Shelly.
Yes.
I noticed that.
Yes.
So I guess that was the name that.
No, Shelly's my pet name.
Okay.
Shelly's what the name my mom called me. It's nowhere on my birth certificate.
Oh.
So yes, Shelly's just a nickname. And whenever people call me Shelly, like today we were driving down and we stopped to say hi to somebody, and the person goes, "Hey, what's up, Shelly?" So I say, "Your family?" You know, like no, you just know me from school days and stuff. So Shelly is what most people who've known me since forever, you know, they call me and stuff. My first name is not even Jael. My middle name is Jael. Yes, my middle name is Jael.
Are you going to tell us
No.
Why not?
Because I don't use it.
It does not matter. We want to know.
No,
we want to know.
No, I'm not telling you. If there's one thing you're not getting tonight, is my first name.
You don't like it?
No, I love my names. Hello, I love my names. You see, on all legal documents, I have my first name, so you'll never know it's me. So I choose to keep my private life.
So I can respect
private
that
with my first name.
I can respect that. I understand. So let's start talking about Jael, the radio personality. Jael, the program coordinator, the award-winning journalist, the media producer, the host, the MC, the influencer. The list goes on. How did we get to there, Jael?
Wow, I don't even know where to start. Like, where do I start? I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to do my own thing. When I was a child, though, I wanted to be a pilot because I was always fascinated by planes and I always wanted to do EV. I always say I want to live, you know, out of my suitcase. But I learned quickly that physics was definitely not something that I could tackle because you have physics and maths and them things there, let me tell you. More hard, sir. Pierce the word, ma. I was more of an English student, I was more of a literature student, and very much not biology or physics. Granted, I did well in biology when I went to school, when I went in high school. Although at the time, Alpha Gene Society was not graduating me. Let me tell you, because I think I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think I might have been rude to him or something. And he decided that I was not, but I kind of sensed that was coming. So I remember like 2 weeks before, I was like carrying things for him and asking him, because I was like, boy, this gonna mess me up. I'm so sad.
You were trying to be teacher's pet.
So let me tell you, so sad, so done. My schoolmates at the time were Midalia Mari, you know, Dr. Cognet, who was her, Leanne Irish Wade, she's married now, and Leslie Joseph, all my friends are married. Oh no, Mary Terrace Etienne, who's the registrar. You know, these were my classmates, Sheldon Rodney, DJ Spawner. These are the people that probably people will know, you know, around. These are the people that I hung out with and stuff. And I remember when after Jim said, you know, graduating marriage, she's like, I'm not going to graduation either. She didn't go to her graduation.
So your little teacher's pet thing didn't work?
No, it didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work then. Later on in life it would work, but it didn't work then. And my father was like, okay, so when CXC results come out, you're going to go to college and whatever. But my mom was in the process of getting me out of Dominica. So I said, well, we could do one of two things. I could go to Sifoko, or I could work for the year. But I decided that's so last minute. Like, it was like to the T, like last minute, we're not doing anything about this. I remember I think I had gotten a 3 in math. And to get to college, they were giving me hell.
Yes, you would have had to
have a 2
in both English
and math. right? So math was the one I had gotten. I had like 6 or 7 subjects, you know, and granted, I did not apply myself in school, especially in high school. I was all about looking cute, wearing high platform shoes. That was me, you know. The boys, they liked the way my behind looked, and I was not interested in school. You know, I would do the bare minimum just to pass, just to get by, or just to appease my parents, right? So I did that until 4th form came, and everybody's like, well, you have to buckle up, you know, and whatever. So then in 2 years I tried and buckle up and whatever. I still did, you know, okay enough at CXC, but I knew that I was leaving, and I maintained that, you know, I was not going to focus on Dominica, like to me it was like that I'm not gonna use that, I'm not gonna need that, you know, because when I go back up I have to start back from scratch and all of that. So I decided, I took on a job at Astafans. So that was my very first job. Can you believe it? I worked at Astafans, and I was at that's where I met quite a few people, you know, working at Astafans. I don't want to call names now, because if I start calling names, I'm gonna have to start call everybody's name. And then the following year, I went to Montreal by my grandfather. I quickly found out I would not be able to live with my grandfather, because I used to take like little trips and go see my mom's cousin, who is Benny's Bellany's sister, who's like my aunt, Auntie Audrey. So I would go spend time with them. And I remember one, she said to me, if you don't like Montreal, you can just come and live with us. And I went back to Montreal on the bus, 6 hours. I drove on the bus. I took the bus for 6 hours. I got to my grandfather's place. I packed my suitcase. I took the next bus 6 hours back. And I went back. And I left Montreal. I left Montreal. I left Grandpa. I left my granddad, and I went to Toronto. Toronto, you know, I quickly adapted to life in Toronto. What age were you? I was 16, turning 16. I was about 16. But I adapted quickly because I always thought of myself as a city girl, you know, like, so that was, I remember walking into stores and just applying for jobs, you know, like saying I want to work. And I remember getting a job in this bougie store that all of these like posh ladies would come to. And the lady, I remember years later, she said to me, you know, we hired you because you were so sure of yourself, you know, and you were like, I want a job, I want to work for you guys. And I got a job working in the store, and then I did, you know, call center, and then I decided I wanted to go back to school. And at the time I wanted to go back to school, I had gotten into dental school, and I started taking some courses, you know, because you had to take some courses and stuff. And one time when it came to pay for me, so I started taking dental hygiene courses. So because you could take the dental hygiene courses, and then you could roll the credits over to do right, to become a dentist, right? So my mom said to me, well, you know, we'll try and get a loan for you so you can go and whatever. But at the time, she was still paying her mortgage and all of that, so she decided to ask my dad's mother, and she quickly turned me down. Just like that. She was like, no. And when she said that, it really like, it tore you. It really tore me, because I'd gotten accepted and everything, you know. But it didn't deter me too much, because I started doing Mary Kay, to make extra money. And I remember all the girls I would meet, they were like, you make us feel so special. Like, you have this thing about you that you could convince me to wear any color lipstick that I have not worn before and whatever. So I would go to these little events. Mary Kay would have these little events, and I remember once I'm in the I'm in the elevator, and this girl walks in, this St. Lucian girl walks in and stuff, and we start talking, and I found out she's from St. Lucia, and we became really quick friends. And she said to me, every time we'd go out, and she didn't want me to do their makeup, they'd want me to, she said, you should really go into that, you're really good at this. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go into school, to cosmetology school. So I applied, I got in, and I'm going to become a cosmetologist. So I did the full diploma. I got through pretty quickly, but while I was in school, I decided that I wanted to because I didn't have any experience except my friends. So I walked into, Canadians would know, Shoppers Drug Mart. Shoppers Drug Mart has these beauty boutiques, which are like the areas where it's like the Mac of the drugstore, right? So I walked in once and I asked for a job, and they gave me a part-time job because I had no experience whatsoever in makeup. So they gave me a little part-time job, and I became close friends with the manager, and I said to her, I one day want to run this store, right? And she laughed at me. And then 6 months later, she met this guy, and the guy decided that he's taking her away. And she told the owner that she'd recommend me. So, with no experience, in 6 months, I was running that shop. I ran that shop for about 4 years. I completed my diploma. I went straight into then they started paying courses for me to Seneca to do marketing. So that's where I got my love for marketing and all of that. So the drugstore, because Shoppers Drug Mart is usually owned by the pharmacist, so he saw a lot of potential in me. And he'd always tell me, go do this course and go do that course. He'd always give me like tickets to go to see games and stuff. And he was just always very super nice to me. And that's where I really started falling in love with cosmetology, was through that experience. So I was running that store. I had like about 22 people working that I managed. And then his friend decided, he had a friend, another pharmacy friend of his, whose store was falling like apart. Like they were having a lot of thefts, a lot of issues and stuff. And he said to his friend, I have somebody for you, she can fix it. So they started calling me the fixer-upper. So I went across and I fixed the store, got it back up to where it needed to be and stuff. And I really enjoyed it. Boy, I wasn't even 21 yet. I wasn't even 21 and I was running that place. I wasn't 21 yet. And I really enjoyed, that kind of work and really like selling cosmetics to women and making women look beautiful and stuff. And I remember, when I decided, I got recruited by Steiner. Steiner is a company out of the UK. They train women to go on from the spa to work on the cruise ship. So I got recruited by them to go on the cruise ship because I want to go see the world. So I decided that I'm going to get trained and go on the cruise ship. And right around that time, I did the training, was about to head out. There were a lot of issues, in terms of getting on the ship and stuff. And then a few months later, my mom says to me, I don't think I'm going to live for another year. You need to come home. And that's when I transitioned and I came back home to Dominica.
All right. So in terms of deciding that you did some things in Dominica, so just give us a sense of what you did in Dominica.
So when I came back to Dominica, I approached, Big Ben and I were tight, we were friends. By those days I used to call him Bert, and I told him I was looking for a job. And when went around, I remember I went to another radio station and they turned me down. Yes, and then they actually offered me a position here, and that's when I got involved with Q Talent Search. And it was a really good experience, coordinating Q Talent Search and being part of the production and all of that. In as much as, I think it was my show. This was like my baby, that was my thing. I really loved seeing, young people evolve and stuff. And of course, the Mr. Gregoire, he saw that I really loved it, and he'd always push me. And then I stayed at Q95 for some time, but I always again wanted to do my own thing.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do my own thing. I always wanted to work for myself, and I asked, is there a possibility that I could work for myself and still do this? And it didn't seem like that was where I could get that situation. So I left and I went to Vibes Radio. I stayed there for some time, and that's when I started really developing and producing my own content. So I started doing 767 Girls Rock. I did the Champion Mix King, which is where Selector Urban won. So I did this 767 Girls Rock, the one in 2015 that you were part of. It was you, Tammy, Dr. Nesty, and Jody.
Jody W.
Yes, you see?
So that means we're missing Dr. Nesty now to
yes, you
come
have
on
to get her
program.
next.
So
Yes.
Doc, hey,
coming for you.
look out for that.
Yes, and she's such a brilliant woman. Oh my God, she's amazing. So, and then I did the second one, which was with it was Leandra Landa and that gang Shyla, that whole gang. So I mean, that was always something that I wanted to continue doing. But when I decided to move back because of my pregnancy and having the baby, having Jazz, kind of to fast track to having Jazz, I kind of saw that there would have been a void if I had just dropped off the earth. So that's when I started Kakoti.
Right.
So that's when I started Kakoti. So Kakoti, which was supposed to be a video podcast, and it's
evolved.
I have over 100 and something episodes, so it just became a thing, and I've had so many wonderful guests on there and featuring so many lovely individuals. And then, while in school, I wanted to do something around, again, giving back around the Black community, specifically my community as an island girl. So I developed Black Island Girl, which became part of my capstone project, which is being pushed heavily, and I want to say it's seriously being pushed heavily, not by Dominicans, because if you see the analytics of it, I don't get much support from Dominicans. It's a lot of people outside. Probably it's Dominicans outside of Dominica,
yes.
but it's not Dominicans in Dominica. And I've gotten so much support from people that didn't even know me from Adam, like instructors, and they always looking out for me. And the last 4 episodes of Black Island Girl was actually funded by the Clara Lionel Foundation, and they reached out to me. That's Rihanna's foundation. So they reached out to me to fund it, and from that I've been getting so many requests, some big names.
Told me one of the big names.
I'm almost I'm scared, but I know I'm ready. I know I'm ready for it, and I've been getting people want me to produce on their podcast. People want me to, all of these amazing companies that have big name, like household name, individuals that they back up. They want me to be part of their team. We were just one of the teams that I work on. We were just featured on LinkedIn, and they actually called my name. I was like, okay, So they did a feature on the top 22 voices to look out for, and one of the companies that I work with, one of the guys, he was that person, and in the write up he mentioned me as one of the part of the production team and stuff. So that was really encouraging, and I love the fact that I've gone out and they've really embraced me. I know Marva is probably listening, Marva Williams.
Yes.
We always have this thing about, we always felt that we were never good enough in Dominica. I've always felt that I wasn't good enough. And outside, they make you feel like you are a walking superstar, and I remember, one of my instructors, Eternity Martis, who is a big author, she's saying, you can do this, you have so much greatness within you. Don't let anybody tell you that. And let me tell you, that was all I needed. And I've picked that up and I've ran with it. And I am so grateful for all the opportunities that I'm getting now and those to come. I mean, right now I'm working with Trey Anthony, who's like one of the biggest like Canadian playwrights, black playwrights, you know. Yeah, and she literally goes on shows and mentions my name. Like she goes on all of these big shows, and I'm like, Trey, like you're making me getting me scared, you know. And she mentions, you know, she name drops me, you know, like one of my producers is Jael Joseph, and I was like, bro, Jael, little girl from Dominica, you know,
from Vegas.
I'm from Vegas, you know, I'm a little city, and I'm so, you know, I'm so encouraged, you know, by all of this. And I say this to say, not to kind of first shade on Dominica, you know, or on Dominicans, but to say that we have so much greatness within us, and we don't even understand how much potential, how many people we have here who have so much potential, and we don't support them. Like bands, groups, you know, even your show, Fredina, like your show should be paid for by a major corporation. Should be saying, hey, I want to sponsor your show, because what you do is you feature the lives of you, exactly, and people can learn from that, and people and to go for sponsorship in 2022, really, that nah. I've come at a point now where people reach out to me now. They're like, we want to give you money, like we want to give you money to do this, and I'm like Canadian companies, you know, like I just filmed a documentary, a whole documentary, and it was given money.
It was given money.
it's like people seeing the value, and I mean, I work hard for it, so I feel I deserve it, but I feel there are others here who can do just as great and just as well if we show them support. Like if you don't hear anything about my story or my life, you don't care nothing about what I have to say tonight, but if there's one thing that you can do, like even when you share your stuff, like share it, you know, like it doesn't even take much. You have to beg somebody to subscribe, you have to, you know, it's like that is how you show support without you having to take a dime out of your pocket. Because when somebody sees, when you're trying to get funding, you can say, this is how many people that look at me, and it's in the subscribers, it's in the followers. This is how many, how people, this is how you can actually get funding that can continue the work that you do. Like, there's no reason why you should be doing this work for free in 2022. You understand? So, and I feel like we're not supporting our own. And when people like me go outside, and as much as we love Dominica, my mother does always tell me, "Ooh, take care, bien on view." You know, she always tells me, because I feel like my umbilical cord caught here. Like I constantly keep coming back, but I'm not coming back because I don't have choices and options outside. You know, as a matter of fact, and most of the money I make comes from outside. You know?
And as you speak of Mama, I'm just going to read just a little testimonial from her on your website. And she said, I've had the opportunity to work with Jael at many of our events. So it means this is talking about your MC duties here. But allow me to single out her duties executed at the 2019 World Prayer Music Festival. She invested time, effort, and a whole new wardrobe in ensuring that her presence on stage was of a world-class standard. Not only did she look the part, but she made the onstage visibility look easy with her zeal and ability to connect with the DJs and the crowd in between. She's an amazing and creative individual. I do look forward to working alongside her in the near future. And I have to read this one as an ambassador.
Yes, Giselle
says, having worked with Jael as a brand ambassador for Jael Stefan and Company on the 18 television and radio show, I can certainly say she delivered beyond expectations. Jael was not only creative, proactive, and hardworking, but she did much more than her scope of work, always and on her own accord. Jael also handled some marketing promotions for us and delivered quality work and on a timely basis. She's spontaneous, efficient, and vivacious, and nothing is too difficult. A of creative ideas. I think it should be a wealth of creative ideas and very much action oriented. Who wouldn't want to work with these qualities? Oh, this is just awesome.
Thank you.
Jay, our battery life on the phone, I forgot the power bank tonight, is beginning to drain. I think we touched on just about everything that we wanted to touch on tonight. I hope we didn't leave out anything of importance. But we know you're a brand ambassador. You are also an entrepreneur. You've made TV appearances. You've emceed. You've done so much. A wealth of experience here that I think is just going to be amazing for you, in the future. So I want to give you an opportunity to talk about, and there goes, we're at 5%, so we're going to have to wrap up, in terms of your merchandise. So
yes.
So
right now on my page, so if you follow Jael Joseph, that is I am Jael Joseph. I am Jael J on Facebook. That's my Jael Joseph page. Those of you who are on my Shelly one, you know your friends, right, and family. But right now I have my mugs are, because you know I always have the mugs. So Black Island Girl merch is available for sale on there, so you can actually purchase. You just click on the link and you get 10% off, but you must use the promo code Spotlight. Yes, and that is from today until my birthday.
Okay.
So from today until my birthday, so you can get a mug, or we have a limited edition black mug that's all black for the Black Island Girl brand. And I just want to encourage folks to check out Black Island Girl. You can go to blackislandgirl.com, join my mailing list. Don't be afraid, just join so you can stay up to date. Whenever I release new content, I always let all my viewers and my listeners and everybody know through my email address on my website. So if you subscribe, if you're a subscriber, if you sign up to the mailing list, you will be notified whenever I have new stuff coming out. I just want to say thanks to you, Fadina. And
we're not wrapping up yet. From yourself. We're going to wrap up in a while. But I just want to know from you, Jael, what's to come for you as we're getting ready to wrap it up.
Well, we right now I'm in the process. I was just actually commissioned to produce another podcast for a famous person. I can't really talk about it now. But I'm to be on the team. I'm excited about that. So we start production next month. We're also going to be going on tour with Trey Anthony, who is she is an author, playwright. So we're going to be doing a tour. Initially it was 4 cities, but I think they're adding a few more cities that's around North America. And who knows what's next? I mean, I've been getting a lot of offers for Dinah, to be honest with you, and I'm so fortunate. I want to thank the universe for giving me what I deserve, because I feel like I deserve this, you know. So I want to really say thanks to the universe for giving that back to me, because I feel like I've put out a lot of good, and it's coming back, and it's coming back in abundance, you know. And I can pick and choose, you know, just to be flexible. I can pick and choose what jobs I want to take on and stuff. And
I want to ensure that I play this before the Facebook Live goes off. I'm not seeing it on my list there, but it's on my phone, so I just want to play this. My volume is down, so we're going to go back and bring our volume up.
Jael Joseph, Jael Joseph, that my life partner. There's so much I can't say. You know, before I say anything, I'll just say 2 words. So we'll keep it at the 2 words, scratch all the rest and just keep it 2 words. Infinity, everything. So, few years from now, when we ask what Julian said on Fadina show about Jael, infinity, everything. Yeah, whatever it is, everything, everything. Yeah, best way to describe it.
Joanna the talker. Infinity, everything. My support. Like Jovian has really supported me. You know, they say I could not do all of what I do without him. You know, he's very supportive, very encouraging, very loving. I don't recall a time when I said, Joe, I want to do this for him to tell me, girl, again. Like, he's always been, do it. What does it take? What do you need from me? You know, it's always in that order, you know, and he's always supported me. And they say, you know, behind every good man there's a strong one, but that one behind every good woman, there's definitely, like, he's my backbone, and he keeps me sound, he keeps me sane. Grounded. He's very calm. I am the firecracker. Like, if somebody look between the two of us, he's the calm, cool, collective one. I am the firecracker, you know, and he definitely knows. He knows my buttons, and he knows when to push them, and he knows when to push me, and he's like, whatever you want to do, I'm gonna be with you 100%. And I really, truly, we call each other life partners, because that's what we are. We're life partners. We don't necessarily believe in societal constructs. We don't believe in religion. We don't believe in politics. We don't believe in a lot of things. We don't subscribe to politics. We subscribe to policies. We don't believe in religion. We're more about spirituality, and you know, we guaye together, like right all like we still guaye, you know. We guaye. We're trying to build. Is a guaye Dominica, you know. But we're there. We're doing it together, and he's a great father. He's a great cook, a chef, a pastry maker, the best cheesecake. Although I don't like cheesecake, but people just send for their cheesecake when you see I post and stuff. And he'll make everything that I like to eat, and you know, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
He's one of the good ones.
He's one of the good ones.
I believe that.
And I asked for it, you know,
got it.
and I got it.
Yes.
And sometimes he drives me nuts, because what relationship is perfect?
Come on.
But we've been together for 12 years, and we've had our ups and downs, and more ups than downs. And you know, I'm fortunate to have him in my life, as much as he's fortunate to have me in his.
Jael, let us wrap it up.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you, as you're wrapping up, to just summarize for me what it has been like to this end. And is there any words of advice that you want to leave with our audience this evening? And, you know, just to give us your final comments.
Well, I wanna encourage folks, you know, to something that, you know, sometimes we tend to not, or to do things that we think will please people, you know. Do what makes you happy. You know, I've learned the hard and the easy way, you know. Do what makes you happy. Do what brings joy to your heart. Do what you want done to you. Do you know, just be good, and continue to put out good, and continue to bless others, and inspire others, and empower others. I mean, it's a tough world. The pandemic, we've seen it in the pandemic, how so many things have transpired, so many different things have happened to people. You know, people have lost their jobs, they've lost their loved ones, and we have to be strong, especially during this time. But one of the things that I want to tell people, you know, that you can put anything you put your mind, you can do anything you put your mind to do. Anything you put your mind to. If you want to do it, if you want it, it is yours.